Home alone. Why America is dealing with severe pandemic of loneliness right now. Michael Snyder reports. We live in a society where a significant chunk of the population feels painfully alone much of the time. It's an epidemic that has enormous mental, emotional, and spiritual implications, and is one of the clearest signs that we are a society that's coming apart at the seams. One of the primary reasons why there is so much loneliness in our society is because the institution of the family is in decline. Today, the proportion of the population that is single and childless is at an all-time high, and the proportion of the population that is married with children is at an all-time low. How can anyone possibly claim that we are headed for a bright future when we are facing such alarming societal trends? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 40% of Americans report feeling lonely at least some of the time. The latest version of the U.S. Census Bureau's Household Pulse Survey, a broad gauge of economic and social issues affecting American households, found some not so surprising news. Americans are lonely. The survey, conducted between August 20th and September 16, reported that 1 in 8 people, that's 12.6%, was feeling lonely either always or usually, including nearly a quarter, that's 23.3% of the younger population, has aged 18 to 29. Since the Household Pulse survey at the start of the year, slightly more people are now feeling lonely at a lot of the time. 40% of people reportedly feeling lonely at least sometimes. Those are very troubling numbers. But of course, others that have studied our pandemic of loneliness have come up with similar numbers. In fact, a report put out by the U.S. Surgeon General concluded that close to half of the U.S. population experiences feeling of loneliness. Last year, the U.S. Surgeon General released a worrying report about the deep sense of loneliness that many Americans are experiencing. The report, Our Epidemic of Loneliness and Isolation, found that approximately 50% of adults in the country are feeling lonely, and that people of all ages are spending significantly less time with others. The findings have profound implications for the health of the country. Being lonely or socially isolated puts people at heightened risk for a number of serious illnesses. The report estimated it to be the health equivalent of smoking 15 cigarettes a day, including depression, cardiovascular disease, and dementia. Those that feel lonely on a regular basis are far more likely to develop serious illnesses, and they are far more likely to die early. So this is a crisis that we should be taking very seriously. One survey actually discovered that the proportion of men that do not have any close friends has increased fivefold since 1990. Who are the loneliest people in America? American men were said to be in a friendship recession, with a survey finding the number of men without any close friends increasing fivefold since 1990. Have you ever wondered why so many older Americans seem so sad much of the time? Well, now you know. People are yearning for human connection, and Google search trends prove this. So it's no wonder there has been a rise in running clubs, knitting groups, pickleball, and more, as people search quite literally for ways to meet new people. Google searches for terms like how to meet people and where to make friends are at or near an all-time high. Somewhere along the way, something has gone horribly, horribly wrong. And I believe that it starts with the institution of the family. In 1940, just 7.7% of all U.S. households were one-person households, but by 2020, that figure jumped to 27.6%. Over a quarter, 27.6%, of all U.S. occupied households were one-person households in 2020, up from just 7.7% in 1940, according to recent released 2020 census data. The share of people living alone increased every decade from 1940 to 2020. The largest increase happened between 1970 and 1980, where the share increased from 17.6% to 22.7%. We were not meant to live alone, but now more Americans than ever are doing just that, and you can look at the insane chart here. Sadly, this decade that trend has continued. According to the U.S. Census Bureau, right now, 29% of all U.S. households are one-person households. That's almost a third. In 2024, there were 38.5 million one-person households, which was 29% of all U.S. households. In 1974, one-person households represented only 19% of all households. The reason why there are so many one-person households now is because almost half of all U.S. adults are not married. From National Singles Day U.S., did you know that 46.4% of U.S. adults are single, according to the U.S. Census Bureau? That's 117.6 million unmarried Americans, nearly every other adult age 18 and over. This includes those who are divorced or widowed, as well as those who have never married. National Singles Day is observed each year during Unmarried and Single Americans Week. More than ever before, Americans are rejecting traditional norms regarding marriage and family. In fact, the proportion of the population that's single and childless now exceeds the proportion of the population that is married with children. The chart that Bragg Wilcox just posted absolutely blew me away. He tweeted, in the past decade, the share of kinless, that's 18 to 55 age adults, those who are never married and have no children in the home, exceeded the share of Americans who are married with children for the first time in our nation's history. And the chart shows, it makes it clear that we are a dying society. Our birth rate has been under replacement level for a long time because so many Americans don't want to get married and don't want to have children. This is going from about 1970. So married with children from 54% it's down to 32% in 2023. Singles and childless from 1970 was 20%, it's up to 38% today. So our birth rate has been under replacement level for a long time because so many Americans don't want to get married and don't want to have children. Sadly, our entire culture has become anti-marriage and anti-family and anti-children to a very large degree. If we do not reverse the insidious trends that have corrupted our culture, we have no hope of defeating the epidemic of loneliness that we are currently facing. Humans are meant to love and to be loved, and that is one of the reasons why the traditional family unit is an absolutely vital societal institution. And this is from Michael Snyder on the Economic Collapse blog. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. About the author, Michael Snyder's new book, Why, is available on paperback and for Kindle on Amazon. He's also written 8 other books available on Amazon, including Chaos, End Times, 7-Year Apocalypse, Lost Prophets in the Future of America, The Beginning of the End, and Living a Life That Really Matters. When you purchase any of Michael's books, you help to support the work that he's doing. You can also get his articles by email as soon as he publishes them by subscribing to his Substack newsletter. Michael has published thousands of articles on the Economic Collapse blog, End of the American Dream, and the Most Important News, and he always freely, happily allows others to republish those articles on their own websites. These are such troubled times and people need hope. John 3:16 tells us about the hope that God has given us through Jesus Christ. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish but have everlasting life. If you have not already done so, we strongly urge you to invite Jesus Christ to be your Lord and Savior today. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Finally, support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.